Happy 2007, everyone, and happy episode 6 of The Watcher. Our 10 heavyweights continue to make their way through the world, winning a heck of a lot more than they lose, that's for sure. But the losses, they're starting to come here every now and then, and it's okay, because they're not all invincible. They are, though, well-established parts of the universe. And as we cover the first third of 2007, they will continue to establish themselves with bigger and better wins. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, just 1 week into 2007, and Elite XC have made their debut in the world. Oh gosh. Okay, I hope that doesn't show up in the recording. Alright, just 1 week into 2007, we've got news. Elite XC has made their debut in the world mixed martial arts, a California-based company. They, I don't know if did they just make their debut, or did they just open a heavyweight division? It looks like they just made their debut in the world, because you can see here a lot of guys signing them up. It actually does say open January 2007, so that's great. Owned by William Kelly, no CEO, no heavyweights, and no belts yet, but I'm sure they'll get right on that as soon as they actually have fighters to fight for them. So, they've approached Bruno Guimaz, Billy Willie, Ron Francis Jr., and Earl Moe, which I believe, don't quote me on this, that is all of our America-based fighters on our list. So now that I say that, I'm going to go check. So, oh, they didn't contact Anderson, but Anderson's only 1-1 so far. Like, he might not have quite earned that yet, but Billy Willie, not Bobby, sorry Bobby, Bruno, Earl Moe, and Ron Francis Jr. So all of our non-Anderson Elite, or all of our non-Anderson heavyweights have been approached by Elite XC. Just one more place for them to make their name. But of course, we've got a main event fight, and the first fight of episode 6. Earl Moe takes on noted Kurt Angle hater Daniel Puder. Puder 4-0, Moe Earl also 4-0, each 2-0 in Strikeforce. And this is the main event of the evening. Opening the prelims, though, we've got only the third fight of Anderson. Anderson 0-1 in Strikeforce so far, lost to Brandon Lee Henkel, and he'll be facing off with Carmelo the Fury Marrero, who is also 0-1, having lost to the very same Daniel Puder in a horrible fight. So, let's see how it goes for Anderson, the Brazilian who made his way up to America, looking for opportunity, has not found success yet in Strikeforce, but perhaps he will here. Carmelo the Fury Marrero versus Anderson. Anderson definitely a striker by trade, Marrero more of a wrestler. So far the fight stayed on the feet, but it's only about 50 seconds in. Anderson trying to convince Marrero to make some mistakes here. They're definitely boxing it out on the feet so far. Marrero, first takedown attempt. Anderson has to pull guard. Anderson defeated by submission in his last fight, if I recall correctly. In fact, I should probably pull up the spreadsheet as I do so, but Marrero trying to pass the guard here. Anderson tries to sweep him, can't quite get it. Round probably goes to Marrero on that one. Okay, two men dueling back and forth with strikes. And Marrero misses a counter jab. Anderson throws a 1-2. Marrero can't get it. Marrero's strike defense definitely working in his favor so far. Really just taking some jabs. Not struggling too badly with any of the Muay Thai or kickboxing of Anderson. And Anderson not having a ton of success here. Again, might still win the round simply because of the ineffectiveness of the striking of Marrero. As long as Marrero doesn't get a takedown here, he does hit a big straight right to end that one there. Anderson getting a little tired. Still, again, throwing strike after strike. Jab, right hand. 2 more jabs and a right hook. The last 15 seconds of that round really probably takes it for Anderson. So they are dead even. 1 round left. Can Anderson go ahead and handle business here? Get back in the win column in Strikeforce. As long as the fight stays on the feet, I would give the advantage to Anderson. Again, we haven't seen it exactly finish yet. Marrero misses a jab. Hits that straight right for Anderson. 2 minutes gone. Anderson hits the right hook. Not sure why Marrero hasn't gone for more takedowns, honestly. It's been the bigger thing for him. Anderson's strike defense. Both men have really pretty good strike defense. Marrero's looking for an opportunity. Probably an opportunity for a takedown if I had to guess. Anderson with some good strikes again. Anderson really starting to find the combinations late into the thing here. Does get a right hook from Marrero, though. Marrero definitely the less tired man. The two men finishing the last 30 seconds of the fight on the feet. Anderson's pretty tired here, but he only has to go about 15 more seconds. Hits a right hook, and that will end the fight for us. The official scores coming in now. Sal D'Amato scored at 29-28 Anderson. Cecil Peoples has given it 29-28 in favor of Marrero. And Marcos Rosales scoring at 29-28 Anderson. So the winner by split decision, Anderson. The Rio de Janeiro fighter in a pretty average opener to the Strikeforce card goes ahead and will take one from Carmelo the Fury here by split decision in 5 minutes of round 3. So split decision, but Anderson goes ahead and gets it done. If we look at the whole fight here, Anderson definitely way more effective on the feet. And yeah, Marrero definitely won round 1 with... Let's go round by round here. Marrero definitely won round 1. 1 takedown and 9 ground strikes and a pass. Easy Marrero round. Round 2, though, Anderson lands 8 jabs to Marrero's 1 and 9 jabs to Marrero's 5 to take the fight on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards, and that will go ahead and get him back in the win column. Anderson moving to 1-1 in Strikeforce and 2-1 overall. Although, he thinks he should have taken that on the 3rd judge's scorecard as well. And now, the Strikeforce Puder vs. Mo main event of the evening. It's Puder vs. Mo, as you probably could have guessed. 25-year-old Daniel Puder with a pro record of 4-0. He is 2-0 in Strikeforce, having beaten Carmelo Marrero and Dan Christensen. Earl Mo also 4-0 overall, 2-0 in Strikeforce. Mirrored records for these two gentlemen. Earl Mo coming off the back of back-to-back decision wins over Chris, whose last name I hate, and Brad Imes. Both men, I believe, roughly the same amount of fresh. Mo last fought in September, and Puder last fought in July. So relatively the same amount of fresh. Puder signed for Elite XC, so we will see which of these two men can remain undefeated. Big, sexy Earl Mo from Monkey's Eyebrow, Kentucky. Definitely the favorite tonight. But the Cupertino, California native Daniel Puder always has a fighting chance. A wrestling versus wrestling fight again. But let's get straight into it. That should be 5 rounds, 5 minutes each. And Mo's at least 30 pounds heavier. Mo's taken his last 2 fights to decision, so we will have to see how this goes here as the two of them just begin. They're starting with striking for sure. Mo misses a right. Puder gets his right blocked. Two guys definitely starting on the feet. Mo with his feints. Again, very good at feinting Earl Mo. Counter with a right hook. We get about halfway through the first round. Puder with the left jab blocks the hook. Mo with a nice 1-2. Two fighters exchanging strikes again. Puder with the jab. But Mo misses the killer shot for sure on that counter. You can hear an audible gasp from his corner. Puder not thrilled with there being a minute and a half left in this round. Definitely showing some signs of mental weakness here. Big sexy Earl Mo gets hit with a good right hook again. Mo coming forward, never backward, into the pocket, misses with 2 punches. The two men go back to back, or go face to face. They wouldn't go back to back. That doesn't make any sense. Not the most exciting round, but probably a Mo round for sure. Heavy favorite. Puder will struggle. Mo steps forward again. Mo always wanted to initiate the first clash of the round. Puder hits a right head kick. Kind of glances it, though. Puder getting a little tired there. Both guys throwing at a fairly high volume here. Mo with the left hand. Puder tries. Puder with a jab again. Straight right from Mo lands hard. He's got power in those hands for sure. Both guys trying for hooks there, not getting him. Mo walking him down. It's a big straight right from Mo. He's still breathing a little deeper, still moving very well, though. Puder probably the more tired man at this point, if I had to guess. Puder nearly gets knocked out on a counter. Again, Mo is just almost hitting with these counter hooks. One of these days, Puder's going to get destroyed with one of these, but nothing yet. The two trying to get a clean shot as we end the second round. Mo hits a right cross. Puder hits a roundhouse kick. Puder cut open, and round 2 is open. That's probably a Puder round, and there is only 1 round remaining, not a 5-round event, so whichever of the two men can win this 3rd round will be the winner of the fight. Mo with a big left hand. Puder tries the high kick again. Which guy's gas tank has got more in it? Who can fight better under pressure? Mo with a couple jabs. Puder getting tired. Pooter shattered immediately. Okay, Mo's going to smash him against the cage and probably just try to keep him there for 3 minutes. Just dirty boxing his way through this. 20 seconds at a time. Stomps the foot. Dirty boxing, dirty boxing. Mo's not going to get the knockout dirty boxing, but look at Pooter. He doesn't seem like he has the energy to get out. He's been pinned against the cage for 2 full minutes now and only has a minute left to get himself free. The referee is going to reset them. 45 seconds left for Pooter to probably try to get a finish here. 20 seconds. Mo still landing his strikes. Pooter's face bleeding. Not great optics if you're trying to win a 3rd round. Pooter pinned to the cage one more time, and it is over. That is a 29-28 decision win for Earl Mo on my scorecard. We will have to see what the ring announcer says. 30-27, 29-28, and 30-77 for your winner by unanimous decision. Big Sexy Earl Mo. Was there any doubt? Daniel Pooter drops to 4-1. Earl Mo is going to go ahead and climb himself to probably the top of the Strikeforce heap, if you ask me. Nobody did, but, climbs himself to the top of the heap as he wins a unanimous decision over Daniel Pooter here in the main event. Look at that. His face is on the poster, his name's on the card, and Earl Mo moves to a perfect 5-0 and a 3-0 in Strikeforce. So, big win here in the main event for Big Sexy. What a colossal news day, folks. First of all, Billy Willie and Ron Francis Jr. have each signed with Elite XC, as has Bruno Guimas. So we have now 3 guys with Elite XC, as well as some guy named Brock. Bruno Guimas, Ron Francis Jr., and Billy Willie have all signed with Elite XC. Anderson has gone ahead and signed a extension with Strikeforce, just a standard deal, but he's now 1-1 with Strikeforce, and Strikeforce would like to keep him on. Billy Willie has now joined the Rofu Sport team to train. So he's got 2 contracts in a team now. There's the 2 fights we already knew about. Ron Francis Jr. has come to the end of his Strikeforce contract and is now in the renegotiation period. So we'll see if Strikeforce wants to pony up some extra cash to keep him on the level of Elite XC. If we see some guys maybe leaving Strikeforce here, hard to say, but a lot of our Strikeforce guys now in the renegotiation period for signing new contracts, so we will have to see how that goes. And right about now is when I'll be throwing up the rankings from last episode. However, I don't have them yet, so just look at them and bask in the glory. Alright, thanks for basking. See you on the other side. Alright, a little bit of news here. Bruno Guimas has been booked to face Tony Lopez at King of the Cage 62. Guida versus Braga 2. So, Clay Guida and Vander Braga are going to be fighting it out for the second time, but the real big fight here is Bruno Guimas versus Tony Lopez. Tony Lopez 4-0 in King of the Cage, and Bruno Guimas 2-0 in King of the Cage and 4-0 overall. Bruno, a huge favorite there. Doesn't really matter. We'll get to it when we get to it. Tony Lopez is in both Strikeforce and King of the Cage. Interesting to note that Earl Mo just called Tony Lopez out before Lopez decided he was going to fight the Portuguese man Bruno Guimas instead. Let's see if he has better success against the one than he would against Big Sexy. Oh, and Elite XC has also offered Anderson a contract. So they are going after every heavyweight fighter we've got. Alright, big news day across the world. But the biggest news, Ron Francis Jr. is the first of our fighters to get a fight with Elite XC. Anderson is signed with them, but Ron Francis Jr. was fresh, and he has been signed for their show Santos vs. Fitch 2. Again, whatever. He will be facing 7-0 Strikeforce heavyweight champion Devin Cole, but again, not in Strikeforce, in Elite XC. So another quote-unquote pseudo title shot for one of our guys. Another chance to beat a champion and not actually have their belt, which is ridiculous. But it is what it is. We will beat down that bridge when we come to it. Oh boy, UFC has mafia ties and now has been kicked off Spike TV. That's a real bummer. And Dana White resigned as CEO. So UFC not so stable these days, which is really, really interesting to think about. They're the #2 company in the world, but we will have to see if that sticks around. That's very interesting. And Michael Bisping is now signed for Pride, 10-0. But nobody really cares about Legends. Polo booked it. But Billy Willie has been booked to face Dan Christensen at Strikeforce Ramirez versus Humphrey in March. That will be on this show. Christensen coming in with pretty bad momentum, having just lost to Roy Nelson and Daniel Puder back-to-back. And I believe his opponent, Billy Willie... No, he did not face... Somebody faced him. I get you guys' opponents all mixed up. But anyway, so we got another fight booked, and another one that will be on this recording. But before that, we have the K1 debut of Jack Duplessis as he faces off with Alexei Oleinik. Alexei barely over the weight limit there, 215 pounds. Jack will come in with a 50-pound advantage on him, although Alexei is considered to be a huge favorite. Jack making his K1 Warriors debut, like I said before, and he will be looking to absolutely impress. The fledgling promotion has brought him in for a reason, and it's probably the pecs the size of watermelons. He's a plus 470 underdog, but that doesn't mean anything. All it means is that there's more people for him to impress here. So, let's get straight into that one. I gotta add it to the spreadsheet as I go. But let's get straight into it. Jack Duplessis versus the Boa Constrictor, Alexei Oleinik. 17-3 professional record versus a 4-0 professional record. I forgot to check and see. Alexei's record in K1 is 2-0 so far, both by submissions. So if I was Jack Duplessis, I would have been training to defend against the Darce choke. Jack, unanimous decisions at both of his Pancrase wins, single 10-minute rounds, and I believe K1 has similar rules. Jack hits a couple of quick straight. Oleinik trying to grapple there. He gets into the clinch and is now going to try to suck him to the ground, and Jack Duplessis slams him on the mat and says, "Stand up." Wow, that is crazy. Jack trying to punch him. Oleinik gets him in the clinch again, tries to pull him back down. Slammed again! And he's allowed to stand back up. Jack is saying, don't even try it. Oleinik is going to keep trying it, and he gets slammed again. This is a powerbomb clinic by Jack Duplessis. Oleinik's building up a bit of tension, probably by getting slammed into the ground repeatedly. Oleinik says, fine, I'll strike a little bit as we get about 5 minutes into the first and I believe only round, although I'm not entirely sure what K1's rules are. Jack's a little bit cut as we move into the second half of the round. Hits a right hand as he decides to box with Alexei Oleinik, who got powerbombed 3 times trying to pull guard. That's tough. Jack getting into the gas tank a bit with 3.5 minutes left in the fight. Oleinik trying to grapple. Jack misses his strikes and hits a straight right. Steps into strike. Oleinik with the left hand. Jack with the left hand. The two guys just kind of dueling on the feet, right back and forth. Jack more of a wrestler, but definitely wary of the submission threat of Oleinik, who hits 2 punches and then a couple of jabs. Hits a jab and misses a big check. We're going to check the cut on Jack Duplessis. Looks like he's fine. The ref says, keep going. 90 seconds left in the fight. Jack hits a straight right. Says, come here, Oleinik, try to hit me. Jack, an extremely confident, occasionally overconfident fighter. Oleinik hits a nice 1-2. Jack with the 1-2. Two guys definitely landing, but nothing powerful enough to worry about ending the fight here. Round 1 ends. And we are going to jump into a 5-minute second round. I, again, have no idea how these rules work. If someone could explain it to me, that would be great. The fight will be judged on an overall basis, though. Jack won the first 10 minutes, in my opinion. Cuts open on his face again, though, and the two will be going back and forth. Seems like Oleinik is more or less giving up on grappling with Jack. Oleinik definitely hitting some stuff here, and he looks tired. And now Oleinik pulls him into guard as he's exhausted, trying for the triangle choke, and he gets it. That's a bummer. Jack did a great job in the first 10 minutes of this round, but he's so big, his cardio isn't very good. And as he got exhausted into the second round, Oleinik finally succeeded in pulling him into guard and gets him into a triangle pretty quick there. Tough to do, and his neck is the size of the normal man's waist, but the Boa Constrictor, Alexei Oleinik, will go ahead and defeat Jack Duplessis in his K1 debut. Again, tough loss for Jack, but sorry, I'm struggling with the spreadsheet here. But tough loss for Jack, but he will be back. And Ron Francis Jr. has now joined the RVCA Training Center with bunch of guys I've never heard of. Good for him. All right, and Eric Fonga has been booked against former UFC heavyweight champion Tim Sylvia. That's quite the matchup right there. Coming off a loss to Fabricio Verdum, and Fonga coming off a pair of losses, I believe, to Jason Farron and Tank Abbott. So, high-octane fight for Pride 41. That should be a very, very good one. That'll be in May, so not quite on this video by just a week. George Joe will be facing Ian Freeman at Cage Rage 22, and this is the big one, folks. Not only is it the main event, it is a title match. So, Ian Freeman finally attempting to defend his Cage Rage heavyweight title after 3 straight losses in Cage Warriors versus George Joe, who has beat everyone in his way. Knocked out, and 4 TKOs so far. So that will be a title fight in April, and probably the main event of this episode, which I am incredibly stoked for. Alright, and as we launch into March, we've got some more news. Jack Duplessis has left his team after the submission loss to Alexei Oleinik. Decided maybe it was time for a bit of a change. And Alex O'Reilly has been booked to face Konstantin Goluhov, a 3-0 Latvian prospect, at CW High Stakes. So Cage Warriors will be hosting Alex O'Reilly, who came up short in his last fight against fellow SAVE member George Joe. 5-1 versus 3-0, 2-0 each in Cage Warriors, as Alex's loss came in Cage Rage. A huge, huge fight. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one fight night. No, not that one. It's the one. Bruno Guimas. He will be facing off with Tony Lopez tonight at King of the Cage 62. I believe just on the main show card, Tony Lopez 5-0, and 4-0 in King of the Cage, beating Tony Galindo, Eddie Sanchez, Britt Rogers, and Kerry Schall. Bruno Guimas 2-0 in the same promotion, having taken out Seth Petruzzelli and Ben Rothwell with TKOs via strikes and leg kick respectively. Let's get straight into this one, folks. I don't think it'll last long. Bruno a -700 favorite. And Lopez's hometown fight, because California. He tries for a kick, and Lopez pulls it down, grabs the Guimas with the Well, that was the craziest minute of fighting I've ever seen. Alright, we're going to start it straight from the beginning. Fight begins. Guimas hits a jab, then tries for a leg kick. Okay. So Tony hits him with a leg kick. It's fine. Guimas tries to hit Tony with a leg kick. Gets caught. He's hopping on one foot. Lopez tries for a takedown takedown. Guimas can't stop it, so he has to pull guard. But instead of pulling guard, he pulls guillotine, and Lopez can't get out. So 1 minute into round 1, a submission. Not the first submission of Bruno's young career, but certainly the fastest. 1 minute into round 1 at King of the Cage, and wow, what a performance from him. King of the Cage 64, main card stunner, honestly. As you see, a 1 minute guillotine. That is awesome. So congratulations to the one Bruno Guimas, who moves to 3-0 in King of the Cage and 5-0 overall. And now it's time for Strikeforce Ramirez versus Humphrey, as Billy Willie gets himself in action here. He will be facing off against Dan Christensen. Nobody on the prelims, so let's skip straight to the Billy fight, because why not? Everybody loves Billy. Billy Willie 3-0, the Thug Jiu-Jitsu specialist from Little Rock, Arkansas, versus the Albuquerque, New Mexico 8-6 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist Dan the Sandman Christensen. Try saying that 10 times fast. Dan the Sandman. He lost quite a few fights. He lost his last 2. Billy Willie has not lost yet. But Sandman -110, slight favorite. And he is, we're at Strikeforce. What's Dan's Strikeforce record? 0-1 so far, losing to famous Daniel Puder. But Billy Willie, a Thug Jiu-Jitsu specialist, looks to go ahead and get another victory here on his card. He has won all 3 of his fights by knockout punch so far. Willie refuses to touch gloves. The crowd doesn't love that. Willie hits a big right hook as they start Again, Thug Jitsu, it seems to involve a lot of punching your opponent's face until they stop moving. Willie gets countered, though. Christensen 8-6, but a 14-fight veteran. Christensen hits a right hook. Definitely maybe a little bit better than his record indicates here. We'll have to see here. The two fairly equal so far. Kind of missing a lot of strikes, a little tentative, a little defensive here at the beginning. Willie hits a right hand. Getting into the gas tank a little bit, even in the first round. Kind of crazy to get exhausted this fast, but I'm not in charge here. Christensen with the counter jab. Willie throwing a 1-2. Willie trying to grapple. He gets hit with the right hook. Maybe grappling right at the very end of the round isn't the what do I know? Isn't the best move, but Willie goes for the takedown now. Willie into side control, trying to get to mount. Christian tries to roll from mount. Willie gets into this rear naked choke position. Can't quite get it, though. He's got the back. Willie gets in the body triangle now, going for that rear naked choke. That's a rough place to be, and that is it. Billy Willie keeps his finished streak alive and his undefeated streak alive by a body triangle rear naked choke at 2 minutes and 45 seconds in round number 2. Strikeforce Ramirez. I gotta type this in. Hold on. Strikeforce Ramirez versus Humphrey. Ramirez versus Humphrey. And he has moved to 4-0 overall and is now 2-0 in Strikeforce. Congratulations to Billy Willie. And on the very same night, we've got Elite XC now making their debut, trying to cut into that Strikeforce market a little bit, perhaps. But what do I know? All I know is it's another place for our guys to fight, another place for our guys to get paid and make names for themselves. So, speaking of getting paid, Ron Francis Jr. looking to pick up that pay window check as he makes his debut and the group's overall Elite XC debut. So, congratulations to him for being the first of our guys to compete at Elite XC. Let's hope he makes it count. So he is facing off with Devin Cole, who is undefeated, 7-0 record. And that 7-0 record also comes with a title. However, it is the Strikeforce title, not the Elite XC title. So, both guys, employees of both. Ron a Strikeforce and Elite XC guy. Devin Cole, a Strikeforce and Elite XC guy, just won the title off Brandon Lee Hinkle 6 months ago now, 8 months ago. Ron Francis Jr. coming off a win against Antoine Jaude in Strikeforce, and also undefeated. Both guys 0-0 in Elite XC, probably because it's their first fight. But we are excited to see how this one goes. Jiu-Jitsu Sambo Specials Ron Francis Jr. from Alberta versus Medford, Oregon native Devin Cole. Two guys are going to engage as they start. Both guys trying for some boxing to begin with. Kind of seems like the meta at March 2007. Everybody tries to box. Ron Francis Jr. definitely trying to grapple a little bit, maybe getting some of that Sambo experience in. I don't know who teaches Sambo in Canada, but Ron Francis Jr. certainly learned it. Stepping forward to hit some right hands here. Low kick to the front leg. Francis Jr. dodges a big right punch and grabs Cole, trying to wrestle him to the ground now. He'll get that takedown with a minute left in the round, right onto the back too, and going for that rear naked choke, and he flattens him out. He has to tap. Wow. Ron Francis Jr., this isn't a streak I talked about coming into this fight, but Ron Francis Jr. has now finished all 3 opponents he's faced. It's again, he just hasn't competed enough for it to be noteworthy yet, but he has finished all 3 opponents he's faced in the first round with a rear naked choke. So Ron Francis Jr. has choked out a champion, but in the wrong promotion. But huge win for him, taking out the 7-0 undefeated streak of Devin Cole. All right, and Billy Willie is now at the end of his Strikeforce contract and can renegotiate. He also has a contract with Elite XC, so he's got options for sure. Definitely options for the undefeated Billy Willie. We will see what he does. Only bit of news as we start April here. Jack Duplessis joining the Yoshida Dojo and Earl Moe joining the Hammer House. And we now come to London for CW High Stakes. Alex O'Reilly takes on Konstantin Glukov in the co-main event of the evening. Konstantin Lakplessis Glukov, a plus 940 underdog. Alex O'Reilly trying to rebound from the loss to George Joe. No shame in that for sure. The Dublin, Ireland native, a minus 1180 favorite. That's crazy. O'Reilly low kick. Misses though. going again to the legs with the low kick. Glukov hits a right hand. Alex forgets to guard it. Get both guys striking back and forth. Glukov a kickboxer by trade. Alex more than happy to fight him on the feet. Glukov misses his thing, catches a kick, and tries for a takedown. Instead of a takedown, just grinds him against the cage, and he really is a grinder, Alex O'Reilly. We'll just crush him against the cage for a while. 43 seconds left in the round, and the remainder passes. They don't really get much done. Definitely a big win for O'Reilly, who stamps his authority on the first round as the big, heavy favorite. And he's tired. He's got well over half the fight left. Pins Glukov to the cage. And just going to kind of Muay Thai him. A couple of knees there. Dirty boxing. Again, a few right hands to the head. Tries for the knee. Doesn't get it. Ref separates them as they have 3 minutes left in the round. Glukov nearly hits a counter on Alex O'Reilly. Hopefully Alex isn't underestimating Konstantin Glukov. He did taken out 3 men so far. And he is undefeated. Glukov yet to taste defeat as we end at 90 seconds left in the second round. O'Reilly landing a 1-2. They clinch up. Both guys very tired. Alex O'Reilly definitely very tired. Can't hit the takedown there. Two guys getting dirty boxing. O'Reilly very comfortable in the clinch. Very comfortable up against the cage. And landing some jabs here as we're about to see out the second round. Again, an O'Reilly win. Likely a decision will go to O'Reilly, but he does have to last 5 more minutes with the kickboxer. Hits a good right hook on him, though. Glukov missing with the right cross. Alex's head movement still pretty good. His gas tank looking completely empty at this point as they have 4 minutes left in the round. Can Glukov use whatever energy advantage he might have to take out Alex O'Reilly, who tries a trip takedown? Glukov on the ground, and O'Reilly probably content to chill in guard for the rest of this. Glukov smothered against the ground by the 265-pound O'Reilly. The ref stands him back up, and with 57 seconds to go, the two men box. O'Reilly hits a big right hook, and that is about the end of the fight there. I would say that is a 30-27 to Alex O'Reilly. Didn't exactly blow away Glukov, but definitely a dominant victory. So Alex the Maverick O'Reilly moves to 6-1. Rebounds nicely from his loss to George Joe as he takes out Konstantin Glukov. Not Glukov, sorry. Glukov. My apologies to Konstantin and his family. I'm sure he's extraordinarily offended from wherever he's listening. So that is a win by unanimous decision. The first decision of Alex the Maverick O'Reilly's career. And however, it does get him back in the win column. His Cage Warriors record is now 3-0. As he at Cage Warriors high stakes is what they call it. Because Cage Warriors just decides they're going to give everything a name that doesn't mean anything. So, Saturday, week 1 of April. Of April 2007. Alex O'Reilly is now 6-1. And Glukov will have to settle for 3-1, as Alex O'Reilly has beaten him rather convincingly. And now the fight we have been waiting for since earlier in this exact same episode. It's Ian Freeman versus George Joe, the main event of Cage Rage 22 for the Cage Rage Heavyweight Championship. The Machine, Ian Freeman, is coming off 3 straight losses in Cage Warriors. George the Gentleman Joe, a 5 straight fight win streak. The first 5 fights of his professional career, and he's won them all. 3-0 in Cage Rage so far. All his fights have ended by stoppage, TKOs, and KOs galore. But just because Freeman is on a loss streak doesn't mean that he can be trifled with. He has earned this title fair and square. Every champion is where they are for a reason. Momentum be damned. A boxer versus a hard-nosed boxer. George is a huge favorite, but that doesn't mean anything. Can George win the first title of his career and the first title of The Watcher Season 3 at just 20 years old? It's the main event of the evening. I'm not sure if it's three rounds or 5 rounds, but it is going to be awesome. So, let's get right to it. The Cage Rage heavyweight title is on the line. I'm so excited for this. Freeman's giving up 35 pounds to George Joe. No glove touch. George Joe, prison boxing style, doesn't do that. Crunching right hook to start from Joe. Definitely a very confident start. Absolutely no worries. Big right hook again from Joe. Nothing really landed for Freeman so far. Oh, wicked right uppercut. Freeman's knocked down. Joe's raining down punches. Freeman can't even defend himself. The referee has to stop it. And ladies and gentlemen, to George Joe, it was just another fight. But boy, that gold around his waist is going to make him sleep well tonight, because George the Gentleman Joe has defeated the machine, Ian Freeman, by TKO. Strikes in 2 minutes and 9 seconds of round number 1. The fight was rated great. In our hearts, the fight was rated legendary. George the Gentleman Joe has now won 5 straight fights by TKO. This one took him just 2 minutes and 9 seconds in round number 1. Alex O'Reilly put up a much better fight. But George the Gentleman Joe is the new Cage Rage heavyweight champion, and probably lays his claim as the number 1 fighter in all of Britain. Number 1 heavyweight in all Britain. Let's check and see if that actually puts him up into the heavyweight world rankings. It might. It doesn't, but it could have. But still, absolutely no worries about that. George the Gentleman Joe, whose contract is now running up against the end of itself. He no longer worked for Cage Warriors. He's just a Cage Rage guy. He can be negotiating now. He only has 1 fight left in the contract. We will have to pay very close attention to George's next move. He has just won. He hospitalized Ian Freeman in 2 minutes, and he won the title. So George is the first title holder of the Watchers Season 3. Let's not forget, Joe went to prison last February. Joe went to prison, and in April he wins the title. He's recuperating for 55 days, which is kind of crazy considering he took next to no punishment. But still, massive win for Mr. George Joe, and just an incredible fight, an incredible result. So in the news, of course, George Joe is coming to the end of his Cage Rage contract and has entered the renegotiation period. Presumably, they would be very much looking forward to re-signing their heavyweight champion. Alex O'Reilly is coming to the end of his Cage Warriors contract. He is got, I believe, 1 fight left on that. 1 fight left on that, and he's got 4 fights left on his Cage Rage contract. So O'Reilly probably leaning more into the Cage Rage side of things, but he could renegotiate with Cage Warriors. They're standard contracts, so no issues with that. Bobby Braxton has been booked at a local show, facing off with Katsuhisa Shamiji Fuji. Just looking to get his career back on track. Katsuhima, definitely kind of a 50-50 up and down sort of career. I don't know what happened with any of this career record. Sometimes these historical ones get a little wacky, but Bobby is 3-3 and coming off 3 straight losses in Pancrase, looking to get back in the win column. And here in April at a local show, we will of course be rooting for him. And Earl Mo has been booked to face Brandon Lee Hinkle at the next Strikeforce card. Puder versus Carwin, which is crazy that a Puder versus Carwin is a card coming up. I gotta look at this. Strikeforce, Puder versus Carwin, right? That's the show. So first of all, I want to look at this. Cage Rage is 7th in the world. Cage Warriors is 9th. Both are considered mid-level regional, but Cage Rage is the bigger company right now. So it's good to think about. Strikeforce, Puder versus Carwin is kind of a crazy fight to make, considering Puder just lost to Earl Mo. And Earl fighting on the undercard of the same thing. Usually it's not how it goes. However, Brandon Lee Hinkle will be fighting Earl Mo, and Hinkle is 25th ranked heavyweight in the world. And so, that's a big thing right there. Earl's fighting a world ranked fighter. Of course, Earl is still undefeated. He beat Daniel Puder, beat Brand Imes, beat Chris, and Brandon Lee Henkel is on he just had a loss because he challenged Devin Cole for the Strikeforce Heavyweight Champion, and before that he beat Anderson. So, interesting matchmaking here from the Strikeforce team. We won't hold it against them too bad, but we will be seeing Earl Mo versus Brandon Lee Henkel in May. So, very early in the next video, we'll have that fight on for you. Alright, and good news if you are the management of Cage Rage. George the Gentleman Joe has extended his employment with them for another 6 fights, 3 years. Their heavyweight champion, who has only been to the 3rd round once in his career against fellow watcher player Alex O'Reilly. He is a TKO machine, 5 straight TKOs and a knockout before that, all against real, not local fighters. He's a ton of momentum behind him, and he's ready to fight again in just 48 days, or ready to at least get booked again in 48 days. So George Joe, doing an incredible job here, has reached low-level national popularity in Great Britain. He's just doing great. He doesn't even have a team right now. He didn't need it. But he's doing great right now. Congratulations to him. And Earl Mo has been booked to face Brandon Henkel. We already had that. I already did that one. Forgot to close it down. Sorry. And we have sort of a dessert to our main course title fight. Bobby Braxton will be taking on Katsuhisa Fuji. Again, Braxton just having been cut from Pride, cut from Pancrase, absolutely not the way he saw his career going. Unanimous decision in 2 submissions. Very tough for him. Perhaps the Japanese rule is not exactly in his favor. He'll be facing off against 6 and 7 Katsuhisa Fuji, coming off 2 wins on local shows. Hopefully, not a sacrificial lamb here is Bobby. He is considered the favorite in this one, as his kickboxing skill matches up against Katsu. Okay, one more time. Katsuhisa Fuji. All right. His kickboxing matches up against Katsuhisa's wrestling skills, but let's get straight into it. I'm going to call him Shimiji because that's his nickname and because it's easier. I'll just call him Fuji, actually. Fuji versus Braxton. Braxton giving up 50 pounds. Braxton ignores the touch gloves. He is upset about how this career has gone so far. 3-3 is not how he saw himself there. 2 of them trading strikes for the first couple minutes here. Neither really landing anything. They're kind of just, big left cross from Braxton. And Fuji is out. Wow. Bobby proving that he is still, in fact, the bruiser, gets another win on the Japanese independent scene. Now moving to 4-0 in the independents. And again, Mr. Fuji is not no pushover. You know, he really did have his own wins at his own pace. You know, so obviously this is in fact how Mr. Braxton saw his career going. And it was a great fight, really. So we are good. It's very nice to see Bobby get himself back in the win column and prove that he still is the bruiser with a huge punch knockout. So congratulations, Bobby. You still got it. All right, folks. April is ending, and so is our video. Before we do, let's take a quick look through the champions. Why not? Everybody loves champions. So we'll start with Cage Rage. As everyone here knows, their heavyweight champion of the world is George Joe, our very own. What a legend. Cage Warriors still features Alex O'Reilly, so we will take a look at their champion. Still held by Czech Kong, who has yet to defend because he's been chilling in Cage Rage. Though he's done well there, beating everyone but Joe. We do have a guy in Elite XC by now. I have not crowned a heavyweight champion yet, and do not appear to be planning on to do so at their next show. So, Elite XC, who knows what's going on. K1 Heroes, all we have there is Jack Duplessis. Heath Herring is their champion, who, he won it off of Gary Goodridge, then defended against Semi Schlitt and Ken Shamrock. So, pretty good title resume so far for Mr. Herring. King of the Cage title is held by Roy Nelson, who has yet to defend, although it appears to be fighting at Elite XC next, because, you know, nobody actually likes to defend their titles these days. But he is undefeated, 7-0 in his career so far for Big Country Roy Nelson. Pancrase. Do we no longer have any fighters at Pancrase, actually, but their belt is being held by Ron Waterman to this day. Last beating Elvis Sinosic and Soa Palele. So if our guys had stuck around a little longer, who knows what they might have made happen. But, because we had guys beat Elvis, we had guys beat Soa, like, you know? Maybe you could have taken on Waterman, I don't know. Anyway, we do not have anyone left in Pancrase, which is crazy to me to think about, but we do, however, have a fighter in Pride, Eric Fonga. Their heavyweight belt is currently vacant because Fedor was stripped after failing a drug test, but it will be crowned at Pride 41 between Krokop and Sergey Kharitonov. So there you go. Krokop versus Kharitonov. Yeah, it'll be great. Pride heavyweight champion to be crowned there. Strikeforce. We have many men at Strikeforce, and their current heavyweight champion of the world, Devin Cole, who lost to Ron Francis Jr. at Elite XC. So it wasn't a title fight, and therefore not. He has not lost it. In the UFC, their heavyweight champion still Frank Mir. And WEC doesn't have heavyweights. It's kind of their thing. So there you go, folks. Every champion covered. And we'll take a quick look at the fights booked in case we have forgotten. Not many fights on the docket for our guys. Big Sexy Earl Mo will be facing Brandon Lee Henkel at Strikeforce Puda versus Carwin. Eric Fogg will be facing Tim Sylvia at Pride 41, the highest ranked heavyweight any of these guys have fought so far. Tim Sylvia currently ranked 7th in the world. George Joe, nothing booked. Jack Duplessis, nothing booked. Ron Francis Jr., nothing. So, just 2 fights booked. I'm sure that people's cards will fill up quickly, though, and I am very, very excited to see where we go next. But for now, that is all we've got. Thank you so much for watching, as always. I appreciate you all so much, and have a great day.